Behind me is the iconic shot that everybody captures when they come to Blea Tarn. Blea Tarn must be one of the most iconic places for landscape photographers in the whole of the Lake District. Car parking is 5 minutes away. It's an easy walk to get to here, and on top of that there is literally a photographer's path that brings you right to where I'm currently stood. Therefore it's an easy grab, and it's a good shot as well. Now, what I want to talk to you about is this. This is what we call a honeypot location. Lots of photographers will say never shoot the honeypot locations. I will always say you must shoot the honeypot locations. Why not? I do, so why not you? Shoot the honeypot locations. My worry is people will come here, shoot the honeypot locations, go back to the car and drive home again. And that is very sad if that's the case. If you have mobility, of course, then from here there has to be more to photograph. There has to be. There actually is more to photograph. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to document how easy it is for you guys, once you photograph the iconic spot, to then go wandering off and trying to find other places to shoot in the same vicinity. So I'm going to limit myself to 10, maybe 15 minutes walk away from where I'm currently stood. I'm going to first of all walk around that side of the lake, then I'm going to come back and walk around that side of the lake, then I'm going to go somewhere else, but still within a 10-minute walk away from here. In other words, over the bridge, through the gate. I'll explain it all, and I'm going to show you some other fantastic places that I have found myself in the past. And really, that's what this video is all about. The video is all about, basically, sorry for the long intro, taking the shots that are iconic, what we call the honeypot locations, but don't just leave it there. Let your imagination run wild and just go for a walk. I'm not talking about hiking up mountains. I'm talking about just go for a steady walk 10-15 minutes away from where I'm currently stood, and let's see between us what we can grab. That's the iconic image taken care of. All I'm asking for is a little bit of artistic license. In other words, the iconic shot, the shot that everybody would grab here, would be at sunrise. It's also very nice at sunset as well, by the way. But yeah, artistic license, that's all I'm asking for, because I'm here in the middle of the day. So I'm going to be wandering around taking pictures when the light really isn't at its best. But look at the pictures and think, wow, how would that look during a sunrise or during a sunset when the light in the sky is potentially fantastic. So I'm just asking for a little bit of artistic license. This is really nice here as well. I'm just isolating one rock here, using that as foreground interest, and I'm shooting up to Side Pike and the rest of the mountains in the background, and it looks terrific. Just really nice. I'm changing the height of the tripod up and down just to go for different perspectives, and an ordinary shutter speed, and of course a long shutter speed as well, because I like to flatten the water out. And yeah, literally 30 seconds away. As well as isolating rocks in the water, there's plenty of beautiful looking rocks that you can isolate on the land as well. It just means coming back away from the water. I've come through the gate, literally 1.5 minute walk to get to where I am now, and I've noticed this little tiny waterfall here. It's not really a waterfall, the rapids, yeah, you know what I mean, and they look quite interesting, so I'm going to try my best to tuck myself in behind this tree, to cut this tree out and aim up towards where I've just walked down. And in the background, where there's a gap in between the trees where we walked through that gate, there's a tree that's standing pretty much in the middle. It's not fully in the middle, it's overlapping the left hand side ever so slightly, but I still think it's enough to make an interesting background, especially with something like this that I think is very interesting as a foreground. So let's just give this a whirl and see what we come up with. It's a bit tricky though, and if you do come here, if there's this much water around, you'll definitely need wellies. Now that we've travelled literally 100 yards away from the honeypot location, we've now come through the gate to the other side of the valley. So we're looking now in the opposite direction, and there's so many fantastic compositions to be had here, and hardly anybody comes this distance away. It's 100 yards. I know a lot of you will have, don't get me wrong, but I bet most of you haven't, who have already been to Blea Tarn. And yet I'm 100 yards away. We've got a river here, there's all snaky streams that come off the mountains, there's loads of lone trees, loads of bushes, loads of really gorgeous, characterful boulders and rocks that you can use as foreground interest shooting down the valley. I mean, look at this lot in front of me here, just terrific. And just on the other side of what you can see in front of me here, this little stream, there's a lovely waterfall, and that's what we're going to go and photograph right now. And it's nice. And even aiming back up the way now, I can see what I was trying to capture earlier on were fir trees, then a gap, then there was one lone tree on its own. The problem is sometimes when you go towards the stream, fir trees here and a lone tree here, that lone tree tends to overlap the one side. It's not bare in the middle as it is from this angle. So these are little things that you've got to contend with. The vlog exactly where I started. I'm a great believer in going out and photographing honeypot locations, as is the case here at Blea Tarn. But please, please, please don't just stop there. I went for a wander in an anti-clockwise direction around the lake. I only went halfway around, and I spent maybe the best part of 2-3 hours. Okay, I was videoing at the time, but I bet I spent the best part of 2 or 3 hours around there, and I took some fantastic shots. I then went across to the other side of the lake on the left hand side as you guys are looking out to the lake. I wasn't happy with any of the compositions there, so I didn't bother, but just going back the way over a small bridge through the gate, and all of a sudden there's a whole new world of photographic opportunities. There are compositions everywhere. Yes, when you come to a place like this, as is the case wherever you go, it's all about the timing. It's all about the weather. It's all about the light, the lighting. Of course it is. But if you come here and you take this shot, go for a wander, and if the light's not quite right, earmark it and come back. It's always good to leave something for tomorrow. But out of everything that I've done today, I think probably my favourite shots are through the gate and down, playing around with a little bit of abstract photography down by that little waterfall. I did like that. I think that's quite nice. I really, really do. So there you go. That's my ramblings over and done with for another week. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then do me a favor, help support the channel. Give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you want to find your way back, then subscribe as well. Till the next time, guys. Cheers.